This is the story of a team on its final strike.
They'll hand it off inside to James, breaks through. He's at the 30, made a nice move, and that's going to spring him. He's going to go. They'll pitch it to Jordan James. Got a great seam on the right side. Look at the blocks downfield. Here he goes. 20. 10, touchdown. Schlochter hands it to James, follows his blocks. He gets to the goal line, and he's in.
Author Tony Robbins once said, "You either need inspiration or desperation in order to change." And this school had both. After being strapped for cash as a school and losing money from boosters, the school needed something to bring in more cash, fast.
BYU, along with Houston, Central Florida, and Cincinnati, will join Baylor, Iowa State, Kansas, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, TCU, Texas Tech, and West Virginia in the new Big 12 Conference. Even with Texas and Oklahoma leaving for the SEC, this is a significant upgrade for all.
The Big 12 also wanted to add two of the best up-and-coming teams. First, the three-peat national champions in Division II. The Oakland College Owls. Then there's us, the Colorado Tech Lions. The team that was always one win away, one season away, one coach away, one recruit away. The school had recently taken a huge financial hit after an academic scandal, and now the school is throwing a Hail Mary in hopes of bringing in TV money, endorsement money, and other streams of revenue. Here we are, trying to save the school from losing its funding. And this is where our journey begins. Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome to beautiful Denver, Colorado, in the Colorado Tech Lions Dynasty. We have been building this team up for the last few weeks. You guys submitted your players, and we finally have it going here. And I'm excited for the journey. And let's just get straight into it. Let's not waste any time here as we start at head coach, Mohamed Willingham. He comes over from a career in the MLB. And what you guys don't know is that he is a former college quarterback. He played baseball at Penn State. He played football at Penn State. Now, as a football player, he wasn't as highly touted as he was a baseball player, but he ended up winning a ring with the Denver Bears. If you don't know what that series is, go look at that on my channel. And he comes over as having that experience of being a college quarterback. He returns to the football field, and he will be the head coach. Expect a spread offense. Now, let's get to the rest of the roster, starting with the captain, Jamarcus Lexington, a guy that missed last year, mostly having some academic and some athletic issues, mostly academic. He could not get his head right, and now he's back for his sophomore year. These are some highlights of him coming out of high school, where he was 6 foot as a junior, 6'3" as a senior, put on about 30 pounds of muscle as well. Now, let's get to the rest of the roster. Our best player is Lexington, but our quarterback room is going to be two quarterbacks mainly, led by Jack Solomon, who is a very good pocket passer. Now, he's not going to be as mobile as his backup, but he can make throws that are pretty good. And the thing that he's going to shine at is that accuracy. As you look at his backup, B.J. Johnson, who has decent throw power, 79, but the accuracy is a bit lower. Now, I think with Johnson, he's going to run some more option packages than Jack Solomon can. Solomon is pretty strong, but he's definitely not as mobile as B.J. Johnson is. Watch out for B.J. Johnson. He can also line up in a little bit of a wildcat out at receiver and play out there. We'll have to see what type of things we use him in as the season goes on. Their backups are Jake Wilson and Troy Smith, but I just do not see a scenario where Troy Smith hits the field. He has a lot of room to grow, and I can't say he's going to have a chance to really be a starter. Now at running back, we have the power back, Adam Roth, number 39, a very unique running back number. I don't know many running backs who have the number 39, but he is a power back. He's going to be a guy that runs over people, but in practice there, he got lit up. But he's going to be a guy that we give him the ball on goal line situations. Adrian Johnson is going to be his backup along with Frank Law. Both guys are kind of scat backs. They will be in on shotguns formations and scenarios, and we had to pass on third down. These two will be in the backfield. Law is pretty good. He's pretty quick. And then Johnson is also a guy that is the quickest on the team. He has the highest acceleration on offense. Now backing them up will be Jamal Britton. I don't know how much playing time he's going to get, but we do have a pretty good fullback in Cookie Rockman, who is going to be a starter for the next few years. And then Albert Jamison Jones is a decent fullback. I want to see them both on special teams, but Cookie Rockman's going to get in a lot of formations where we have I form or strong I or a weak I. We'll have to see. Now our receiving core is very, very diverse, led by Kentrell Kraft, who is a very shifty receiver. He's the fastest on the team. He is going to be a junior this year, and I like what he has as far as potential with catching the football and running after catch. He's going to line up all over the field. He can play on the outside. He can play in the slot. But one thing is for certain, that Jackson, who is number 2 on the depth chart, is 6'5". He's going to play all on the outside. He is a big target. And I'm going to be looking to use that size, especially versus smaller cornerback matchups. And he is going to be a guy that we're going to rely on, especially fade routes in the red zone, things like that. He's going to be a pretty good weapon on this offense. Now in the slot will be mostly 2 guys. Adrian Shields, who is 6'1". He has pretty good route running, one of the best on the team. And he's going to be a guy that's going to be shifting around quite a bit. We're going to run some motions, get him open with some easy, even like dink and dunk passes. Now Mookie Richardson, one of the best names I've ever seen submitted to this channel. Mookie is going to be a guy that's going to line up everywhere, and he is kind of my utility guy. He's going to be our punt returner, our kick returner, and also that guy that's going to play in the slot. Now, he doesn't have the best hands in the world, but he is pretty athletic. So I want to get him the balls in more ways than not. And then there's Ryan Kovich, who is our 5th string receiver. We definitely need to recruit at receiver, only 5 guys. We're definitely going to need to boost up that position in the future. Now at tight end, we have Mike Marone, who is going to be an awesome weapon for us everywhere on the field. He's going to move the sticks in the red zone, and he's also going to be a guy who can block for us in the run game, and I like him a lot. He's going to be a guy that has great hands and is going to be an efficient pass catcher. You're going to see him on the field quite a bit. Now, there is another B.J. Johnson at tight end. It's going to be funny to see 2 B.J. Johnsons. That is not a mistake. There is literally 2 B.J. Johnsons. And then there's Kevin Liang, who is kind of behind the other 2, but we'll have to see what he gets in. Now, our best offensive lineman is Trent Graham. After him, there is a huge drop-off, but a good thing he's a left tackle. He can pass protect pretty well. Jack Solomon, B.J. Johnson are both going to need it, because behind him, we have Ryan Rodriguez, but he's 22 overall lower, and then the next lineman is about 3 overalls lower. Looking at left guard, we have Warfa and Mobley. Tom Jones is our center. Brandon Romero at center as well. They will still be competing there. I have no idea who's going to start and who's going to really play. Obviously, I'm going by overall right now, but we'll see how our offensive line shakes out, because sometimes in this game, there are just guys that play better, even if they are lower overall. And that's kind of how I'm going to play. I'm going to play whoever's playing the best. And right now in our offensive line, I think we have a lot of question marks. On defense, number 95, Bo Rocky, will be a sophomore, 6'6", 260. He is an awesome player at defensive end. Can't wait to see what he does this season. He's a guy that's going to get off blocks and make big hits, just like the one you saw there. Backing him up, Keon Johnson is a sophomore. Now, one thing we don't have at left end is speed. You can see everybody here doesn't have the greatest of speed, but Ethan Knox is going to be a guy to watch out for. He has high power moves, and he has decent speed with 65. At right end, we have Mason Stonebreaker. Very good finesse moves, but lower power moves. So that's going to be an interesting dynamic to see how our ends work together. We will be in a 4-3 offense here in 4-3 defense in year number 1. But then our defensive tackles are the shining spots on our defensive line, and it really starts with Alec Robinson. You know, he is a smaller defensive tackle, but he's just so slippery. He gets off of blocks very, very easily. And then the counterpart is 6'7" Sion Okafor. I mean, he towers over offensive linemen, even being, pretty, evenly built like they are. He still is just the biggest guy on the field. Can't wait to see what these two guys do. Now, the captain, Jamarcus Lexington, will be a left outside linebacker. He's going to shift all over the field. Sometimes he's going to play middle. Sometimes he'll play on the right side. We'll have to see. Backing him up is Jamion Small, and then Colin Bryant will also back him up. Now, at middle linebacker, a familiar name if you're not new to this channel, Vincent Showcross. He comes over from our PS2 Cocoa Beach Rockets dynasty. He's going to be a guy that's going to get after the football now. He's definitely going to have to improve. His overall is a little bit lower, but I believe in him right now. I think he can be an awesome guy that we have getting after the football, especially a guy that's going to need to be a sure tackler on the defense. Connor White will be backing him up, so if Showcross does actually not perform well, White is right behind him. Now at right outside linebacker, we have a really good starter here in Joseph Crawford Jr. He is just a sophomore. He will have time to develop. Derek Strong backs him up, along with Shield and Jerome James. So all those guys are kind of even, so we'll have to see who really emerges from that group. Now at defensive back, we have Jerome Henry, a 6'3" physical corner who is really going to be guarding the other team's best receiver. Here he is in practice guarding Kentrell Kraft, and you can just see this is what he does. He gets hands in there. He's big and strong. He will intimidate his opponents, and he will play good defense. I'm pretty sure that he's going to be a pretty special player for us. Now, counterpart of that is Bernard Benjamin, who is a speed cornerback who's really going to use his speed to keep up with those smaller, shiftier receivers. And if there's a matchup where there's a big speed difference between Henry and the number one receiver, I might even switch their sides some games, so we'll have to see. Now, our other guys, Kerry Andreo and Elijah Green, are going to fight for that nickel corner position. I'm not sure who will have it, but I think there's a little bit of a drop-off between Benjamin and Henry as you look at Robert Godfrey, and then there's Jake White. So, I mean, there is kind of a drop-off there with our overall and our skill, but we'll have to see what happens. At safety, we have Blake Starks and Jaden Alcala, who will compete for that starting free safety job, and I think that both guys are very capable of doing a lot there on the back end of the defense, and even Alcala can play some nickel corner. At strong safety, we have Tyler Ashley, who's going to be the starter right now. He has good hit power. He's going to be a guy that I'm going to depend on to play in the box a little more. But you can see right here, he does have ball skills to play in the secondary. But we'll see where he fits in. I think that he is going to be a guy that is definitely going to be needed in run support. Tim Ito is his backup, and as we move over to special teams, Xander Gomez is a decent kicker, 81 kick power, 68 accuracy. I don't think the accuracy really does matter in this game, to be honest. And then there's Billy Johns, who is a 77 power punter. As that concludes our roster. But that does not conclude you guys getting in this series. Now, I floated in the beginning of this episode that we have a rival here, and it's going to be the Oakland College Owls, led by running back Jordan James, the Division II All-American, and they come over from Division II along with Colorado Tech. These are fictional schools, by the way. And here we are, looking at their roster. Their roster is also filled with you guys, the subscriber recruits, and I appreciate all the submissions. Now, if you are wondering how you can get into this series, you just have to follow along. At the end of each season, I usually put out an episode to submit your recruit, and you have a chance to not only make our team, but also be a recruit or be an Oakland College Owl. So watch out for that episode. It usually comes out towards the end of each season. But here is the roster for the Oakland College Owls, and they're way better than us. They have been the three-peat Division II national champions. So you can just see that the difference between us and them is actually pretty large. So we will see how we do here in our first year in Division I. Now, our playbook coming into this year will be Penn State. I'm actually going to create a custom playbook, and our base defense will be 4-3. But we're going to base it off of that Penn State playbook. Now, I want to piggyback off of what I was just talking about with recruits. So, this year in this Dynasty, I am going to continue to create custom recruits like I always do. But this time around, I'm going to create every caliber. So, there will be 1-star through 5 stars. And we won't always necessarily get to be able to recruit them, but we will get to follow along with their career. Now, what I want to do with recruiting, there will be recruiting restrictions as always. And honestly, all the recruiting restrictions have been done. But what I'm going to do here in this series is that I'm only going to recruit in the state of Colorado. So whatever I can get in Colorado, that is what I have. And right now, as a 1-star school, the highest non-custom recruit I can go after is a 2-star, and then I can go after up to a 3-star for a custom recruit. So I basically create everybody. I know how good everybody is, but after a while you just forget. I mean, you forget like how good people are and what they do. I mean, it's 20 max recruits that you can create. So all of the guys that are on our board are created, and then I added some non-custom recruits from Colorado as well. So our opening schedule will look like this in this series. We will open up against Utah for 2 straight years. Utah is led by quarterback Brad Wright, who is an excellent quarterback, 6'2", 87 overall. He has excellent accuracy. Mike Hobbs at running back. So our opener is going to be tough. They have also a very good receiver, Sean Cochran, who is an excellent route runner. I think we're going to have our hands full in week number 1. After that, we go on to Iowa and face them on the road. Now, why is this game important? Well, we are going to be a team that is strapped for cash. So the teams that we schedule in non-conference play will make a difference because it's going to determine the amount of scholarships we get each year. So we're going to start with a base of 10 scholarships, and then with each ranked opponent we play on the road, we will get 1 extra scholarship. So basically that amount of money we make from that game will pay for an entire scholarship. So in year number 1, we have 12 total scholarships, and we will be in the Big 12 to start this season. And we will actually make sure we fix the Big 12 conference with the correct teams, because right now I didn't have that exactly what I wanted it to be. So I will make sure that that's up to date. And starting out this year, we are dead last. 126. We are absolutely terrible. Oakland College is at number 32. They are 86 overall. We are in the 40s. But we will see what happens here. Here is what the Big 12 looks like in year number 1. Like I said, I will fix the conferences because the new Big 12, which is coming up in a couple of years, I'm going to make sure that we mirror that. So I need to get like UCF in here and other teams that are missing as well. But we joined the Big 12 here in year number 1, so we're going to have a tough schedule right out the gate. I want to make sure that we do something a little different than we've been doing. Here are the sliders. Now, I'm using Matt 10's from Operation Sports, his NCAA sliders. He updated them in 2020. I did not use the updated sliders at all, so I'm testing these out. And I think I like them. What I'm looking at right now, I tested them out a couple of games, and I like what I see. So I think the one thing that I might change, though, is fatigue. I might turn it off because CPU teams absolutely just get gas in the second half, and they don't run plays the same and things like that. But this is what we're going to look like here in year number 1. I will leave the link down in the description if you want to try these sliders out. So let's get into a little bit of a practice here. Here are your Colorado Tech Lions, and I want to just show you guys the different looks that we're going to have here in year number 1. Now, B.J. Johnson and Jack Solom are 2 different quarterbacks. One can run the option extremely well, and one can really pass the ball accurately. And there is Frank Law getting lit up by Bernard Benjamin. What a huge hit right there. The hit of the practice. Look out for Bernard Benjamin. Is he a secret big hitter? I'm not sure, but that hit was huge. In comes Jack Solom at quarterback. This is going to be our quarterback that's going to be the most accurate on the team. Now, with this Penn State playbook, there is kind of a multiple look as we have plays under center. We have plays with fullbacks in the backfield. We will run the strong eye, weak eye. And I also am going to add a couple of pistol formations, not a lot, just a couple, and that will have more of the option plays. Now, how I usually do it, if you're new to my channel, is that on defense, I control one guy the entire play. One guy the entire play. That goes for this series, goes for my Madden series as well. One guy the entire play. I do not switch off. It basically gives the CPU and your players character. It doesn't allow you to dictate the outcome on every single play. Sometimes you do, but I want it so that most of the time I do not dictate the outcome. Now, how I will do that as well, I will control the defensive line. So I will not control any of the linebackers or the secondary. I will make sure they make the plays. And that brings me to 50-50 balls. As you just saw Jack Solomon, as we talk about offense here, I will switch on the guys for 50-50 balls because I think that the logic is just broken in this game. And guys just don't go up for 50-50 balls realistically, so I will be using that. But other than that, catches, I will not use or catch at all. I will make sure that, guys play the way their ratings say they should. And that's what I want to do. And that's how I kind of want to dictate this entire series. So just starting out, what I'm seeing in this practice is that I think that our short passing game is going to have to be what we rely on here in year one. I see a couple of intermediate passes that we make, like that one right there to Mookie Richardson. But I think that the short passing game is definitely going to have to be what we rely on, simply because B.J. Johnson has the strongest arm on the team, 79 throw power. I mean, we're just not going to be able to throw the ball down the field. There's probably the deepest pass we'll be able to throw. There's Kentrell Kraft. That was a good play. As B.J. Johnson comes back into the game, just trying to show off the legs. I want to see what B.J. Johnson can do throwing the football. And I don't foresee a big quarterback competition as far as who's going to be the starter, who's going to come off the bench. I think right as it is right now, Jack Solomon is the most accurate quarterback, so I think it's just the smarter play to play the more accurate guy and then bring in B.J. Johnson in those option situations. I think that's what we will do here, especially this year. Now, Johnson, is a interesting quarterback. He is 6'3". Solomon is kind of 6 foot, 5'11". But I'm going to need to get the ball to the best players. Kentrell Kraft, he's the fastest guy on the team. You got to watch out for him on the outside. Here he gets a pass right here. And I expect him to lead the team probably in yards this year. Mike Marone could lead the team in catches, as there is Kentrell Kraft. A great deep pass, and that is a good way to end this practice right there. If Solomon can throw that pass in the game, Kentrell Kraft is going to really shine in this offense, I think. And we'll see what is going to happen here in year number one. We don't have the greatest roster, but I like the challenge here as we start a new journey on this channel. The Colorado Tech Lions are ready for week one versus Utah. Let me know down in the comment section below if you saw your player. And if you did not see your player in our roster or Oakland's roster, you might just be a recruit. So watch out for that. Hit subscribe, hit that like button. Hope you guys are excited for this series as much as I am. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I like getting money, I got time to get it. Target on me, so my car's a tinted. Dancing with the devil, I don't bargain with it. Bobbing in a dash, and the stick is with it. And I hit the 4-5 on the west side. But I'm from the east side, this how we slide. This how we ride, yeah, this how we ride.